everyone, welcome to Next Gen Lens, a fresh new video series offering valuable insights about the next generation of consumers powered by Next Gen Voices. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Allison.
And we are both qualitative researchers at Market Vision Research, as well as members of our Next Gen leadership team. Today, we are super excited to be kicking off this video series and sharing a bit more about this key demographic. Today's hot topic, Gen Z. You've probably heard this term thrown around a bunch of times, but who really is Gen Z?
They're not just the TikTok generation or those kids who are always glued to their phones. There is truly so much more to Gen Z, and we're excited to break it down for you today. All right, Lauren, so let's start off by discussing some of the basics. A question we get a lot when we start discussing Gen Z is simply, how old are they exactly?
Yeah, I think it's a great question to set the stage. So Gen Z are folks who are aged 12 through age 27, and those who were born between the years of 1997 through 2012. I will caveat for the audience that this might vary a bit depending on the source of where you're getting that information.
Sure.
Which I think does beg the question of, like, who are the generational gods who get to dictate, where the cutoffs are? Maybe there's some secret generational council that we're not invited to. If anyone in the audience knows, we would love to know. Yeah, feel free. Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to know.
Right. But I think it is important to note that within our research, we did focus on a particular subgroup of Gen Z, and they are known as geriatric Gen Z. And yes, that is an actual term that is used to describe those who are ages 18 to 27 years old.
Yeah, and can I just say, I don't know how to feel being called geriatric at the ripe age of 26, but,
Same here, but, hey, I guess we should just embrace it. Then beyond our age, we cannot discuss Gen Z without calling out the obvious, and that is that we are digital natives. Mm-hmm. We are uniquely the first generation to grow up completely surrounded by technology. Yeah. When you think about smartphones, social media, the internet, most of us have never known a life without it.
Which is kind of mind-blowing to think about.
Absolutely.
In the sense of, growing up and having access to social media, but also on the flip side of not having, access 24/7. I'm sure that there are tons of Gen X watching this right now saying, I had to go to the library for information. Totally hear you there. My parents have made that completely known to me, at least. It brings up, I think, another question that we get a lot of times from those that we talk with, which is, where are Gen Z going for information? Where are they going to engage in content? Where are they getting their entertainment? We've also heard the term infotainment. What are some of those places?
Yep. So that's definitely a great question. And we learned from this generation that their go-to platforms include none other than TikTok. They're also on YouTube as well as Instagram. And I'm sure for all of us out there that there are no surprises there.
Right.
But I think one of the most interesting things about these different platforms is that Gen Z is using each one for different purposes.
Yeah. I think I remember from our research, one of our respondents mentioned, at least for YouTube, that's all about the details. So that's where they're going for more in-depth content. So whether that's looking up tutorials or online reviews or information for a school project or a home project. Whereas TikTok, on the other hand,
that's what they call the mini YouTube. Yeah. And so this is where Gen Z goes to scroll for these quick, bite-sized, digestible videos of whether it's entertainment or information. And when it comes to information, a lot of Gen Z is actually using TikTok like a search engine, right, searching for all kinds of new recipes, looking for product reviews. That's where they're going to learn about pop culture, hear about the news, and so much more.
Right. And lastly, for Instagram, that's kind of deemed the hub. Mm-hmm. So no matter where a piece of content may originate, it's eventually going to end up on Instagram. And I know I can relate to that from my own personal social media usage, that I might be on TikTok, I see a video, but then I see the same one on Instagram 2 weeks later.
Yep, same here. But there is a catch when it comes to businesses and brands out there, that because Gen Z has grown up with the internet and being online, it's made us very skeptical.
Yeah.
And, growing up in a world that's full of fake news, lots of curated content, we've really become experts at sniffing out what's real and what's not.
Right. And I think that can be for advertisements, it can be for influencers, brands to a certain extent, that anything that's starting to feel a little fake or a little forced, we're quick to scroll right past that content. And it's been said time and time again, but authenticity truly is the name of the game when it comes to this generation.
Now, let's talk about another defining trait for Gen Z, and that is diversity. Gen Z is considered to be the most ethnically and culturally diverse generation in history. And that's not just about their demographics, that's also about their experiences, their perspectives, and their mindset as well.
Right. And Gen Z is a very vocal generation, right? I think we saw that from our research. They were not afraid to share their opinions. And they're also big advocates for things like climate change, racial justice, gender equality, LGBTQ plus rights, and even mental health as well.
Absolutely. Mental health was huge for Gen Z. And spoiler alert, but also a small plug, some of our colleagues are actually going to be tackling the topic of mental health in a future video, where they will share what mental health means to Gen Z, as well as share a bit about how brands can take part and play a role in this important conversation. So stay tuned for that. But if we take it back to diversity and talking about Gen Z's advocacy, this has really led them to gravitate towards brands that really align with their own personal values.
Right.
They want brands to keep it real. They want them to show us their imperfections, own your story, and also make it meaningful for us. We tend to be less brand loyal, and we rely a lot on online and peer reviews that are out there as well.
All right, so at this point in the video, it might be a good time to bring up our attention spans, or should I say lack thereof?
Yeah, because we are so used to rapid change that whether it's from watching 10 TikToks in a minute or even trying to keep up with all the latest trends, Gen Z has really become agile and adaptable, which is great. But when you think about trying to hold our attention, I think you have, 8 seconds?
Probably at best, which is a good point to bring up too, because with brands, as you are developing content, it is important that not only is it engaging, but it's also digestible too.
Sure. So in the interest of time, I do want to turn our attention to one of the questions that we received from a viewer. And that is, what was an aha moment throughout the time of conducting this research that you had, or what is something that changed the way that you see Gen Z?
Yeah, I think something that stands out to me is not only were we able to understand Gen Z a bit more, but we are also able to understand ourselves a bit more too. Because when you take a deep dive into a generation on how they view the world, how they process the world, you're able to reflect on your own experiences and challenge some of your own assumptions in new ways as well. And I think too, what's particularly compelling about this research is that we were able to keep peeling back different layers of understanding. Because I'm sure all of us have heard about Gen Z from the headlines of, they're these digital natives and they're the activists, they're this TikTok generation. But when you truly sit down with them and you listen to their personal stories and you hear their perspectives, you're able to uncover some of these key nuances that oftentimes get lost in the stereotypes. So to sum it up, Gen Z is shaping the future. We're skeptical, yet hopeful, practical, yet creative, and above all, laser focused on authenticity.
And if you're a brand, insights professional, or even just someone who's trying to keep up, take notes. Gen Z is not watching the world evolve. They're actually leading it. So that's a wrap on today's episode. Don't forget to like, follow, and share this video. And if you're looking for more, check out our If You Know, You Know playbook of insights. The link is down in the description below.
We'll catch you next time on Next Gen Lens. Insights about Next Gen, powered by Next Gen.